I'm scouring the mighty Amazon River to uncover the killer that tore into passengers trying to escape from the river's biggest boat disaster. A survivor, Joselina Colares, has bravely agreed to meet me.
Bem, nós saímos de Santarém, eu entrei no barco com os meus filhos, 4.
So she got on the boat with 4 young children between the ages of 7 and 2.
Não estava muito lotado o barco.
She says 3 boats normally operated this route, but one was out of service and the other had just broken down. So the Sobral Santos was taking on all the passengers and cargo. By the time she decided she wanted to get off, the boat had already set sail.
She was very worried. So when the boat arrived in Óbidos, she was still awake.
Estava acordado. Estava caindo as garrafas, mercadoria que estava na beirada do barco.
She said the first thing that alerted her to something being wrong was crashing sound made by falling bottles on the upper deck.
Só o pessoal começou a gritar.
She jumped down from her hammock and actually went straight into the water because the boat was already in the process of tipping over. She's under the water and she has some kind of crate that's trapped her foot. She had to rip her foot out, and she said in the process of this it cut, her foot was bleeding. She came to the surface. One of her sons surfaced next to her and hung on to her. That was when she grabbed hold of a bench floating past. At that point, she was actually in the middle of the river.
The boat was gone, and the waters of Óbidos were filled with battered and bleeding passengers. It was the perfect storm that put weakened prey right in front of predators.
It was very dark. You could see a certain amount, but she said there was lots of screaming. And then, just gradually, they, one by one, disappeared under the surface.
Ficou aquele silêncio, morreu muita gente, sabe?
It was then just silence. She was bleeding quite heavily from her foot, and people actually said to her, you know, you were lucky you weren't attacked by something in the water.
A boat found them in the darkness and took them to the hospital, where they were treating 2 of her other children. But her 2-year-old son, Rui, was missing.
His body was found in the river the next day in the afternoon, so he didn't survive.
Although this disaster happened more than 30 years ago now, it's very clear that the memory of it is still very much alive in the minds of many people. I think what I found most chilling from Joselina's account was her description of how all the people around her screaming on the surface gradually became silent one by one as they disappeared beneath the surface. And the other thing it really brings home to me is how just the magnitude of this incident just far surpasses anything that I've looked into before. It's an unbelievably muscular animal, built for speed and power.